My host here has introduced me very well. But I'll take you through part of my life. A life that this seed of Grand Rapids has helped to shape. I was born in 1971, and at the age of 2, I got polio. Some of you probably were wondering why I'm in a wheelchair. And some of you probably are wondering, how is he connected to Grand Rapids? And some of you are wondering, where does that accent come from? Yes, indeed. I was born in 1971, and at the age of 2, I got polio, and this is why I'm sitting in this wheelchair. Growing up as a kid was not as easy as you would think. Each and every time I tried to play with a car toy, my friends would tell me, you will never drive a car. And you know what? I drive a car today. When my mother was told, why are you sending this kid to school? He will never amount to anything. I managed to get to the United States and get the education that I wanted. And here I am, a leader and a member of parliament in Malawi. I just want to take you through all this because I want you to understand where I come from and the role that this city played. When I came to the United States, I didn't know anybody. I basically showed up at the doors of the Diocese of Grand Rapids. Fortunately for me, at the Diocese of Grand Rapids, when Monsignor Stewart of the Diocese of Grand Rapids asked me, how can I help you? I said, I want an education. Fortunately again for me, there was a man there called Jim Radamaker, who stood up and without questions took me to his house where I started staying. And he now started working through the different process of getting me into college at Aquinas College. And again, fortunately for me, there were a lot of people willing to chip in by putting money into what I would call a consolidated or a restricted account to pay for my education. Unfortunately to me, Aquinas College was very accommodating. While I didn't know the difference between a mitten and a glove, one day when I was going through the campus, Sister Aquinas Weber saw me without gloves, and she pulled out her mittens and gave it to me. Until someone in class said, you are putting on mittens. But that's because I didn't understand the difference between gloves and the need to have gloves in the cold winter time. I'm saying all this to help you understand where I've come from and how this city has shaped my life. When I graduated from Aquinas, I went back to my country. While many would have loved to stay in the United States in the comforts of the good things that are here, I decided I would go back home and have a meaningful life. And from my wheelchair, I started a campaign for a member of parliament seat, which fell vacant because of the death of the incumbent. A lot of things were said. He will never manage to lead us. He is a disabled person. Because in our culture, disability is viewed as a curse from God. And it is this mentality that continues to put down people with disabilities. It is my sincere hope that nobody in this world will ever have to go through the pain of growing with a disability and people trying to bring you down because of your disability. But it's happening in the world. Through the education that I managed, people started believing in me. They started seeing a leader in me to an extent that when I went out and campaigned and became so eloquent on issues, heads were turning. People were now saying, look, maybe he has a point. And sure enough, in 2004, I became a member of parliament for Mangochi Central. When I became a member of parliament, it was not easy for people, even in my own parliament, to understand. Instead of standing up for recognition, I raised my hand. And yet what followed was substantive issues being discussed by a person who is disabled. And because of that, I've gained respect in my country, so much that people with disabilities are no longer looked down upon because there is a leader. Now, what is connected in me is the fact that I'm able to bring together people in Grand Rapids and people in Malawi. Soon, in October, there will be people who will be leaving the United States to go to Malawi to do service work. They're going to construct classrooms. We've constructed classrooms before. Soon, we'll be engaged in a project where we will be establishing machines to scan pregnant women so that they can identify problems before birth. Soon, we'll be working on various projects that promote girl-child. As I speak today, 20 girls are receiving scholarship from an organization called Malawi Connection. And that in itself is the connection that I bring from Grand Rapids to people in Malawi, and from Malawi to people of Grand Rapids. I'm saying this because the relationship that is there is going to be helpful to both of us. For people in Grand Rapids, they will understand the cultures, the problems that we have in Africa. And the people of Africa will appreciate the generosity that this community has given me for a long time. I want to end my short presentation by telling you, never be afraid to help somebody. And don't underestimate your ability to help somebody. You have helped me achieve this in life. I've given it out to some people, and I'm sure we can all work together for the betterment of our communities. Thank you.